A short video on how to line up a takeoff on the Flight Sim 2004 default Boeing 737. First thing you'll notice is that I am lined up on runway 09, which means it's heading 090 degrees or more or less, which is east. The reciprocal would be 270 or runway 27. If there's any wind blowing, you're meant to take off into the wind, so we'll just if you have any wind, it's a good idea to take off into it. There are three gauges that are important to monitor on the takeoff. Airspeed is number one, which tells you how fast you're going. Altimeter to tell you what your altitude is, and VSI, which tells you how fast you're climbing or descending. Going up the way is climbing and going down the way is descending. Obviously you have to trade off speed against forward speed with vertical speed to ensure you don't stall. So basically you don't want to climb too fast, too slowly and stall. So those are the important ones to watch while you're lined up. The best way to line up is you can taxi from the runway, or if you want FS to take you to the airport, you just go world, go to airport, and you've got a little box up, and you just type in the airport you want to go to, which in our case is Echo Golf November X-Ray, which is East Midlands in the East Midlands of England. Just a tip, if you're in multiplayer and you're all going to the same airport, don't go to active runway. Everyone does that and you end up crashing into them. So select another runway. I'm going to just select 27 this time. Another thing is you can do it by city. So if you want to go to Paris, just type Paris into the city, and you'll see all the different Parises. The American one's first, of course, because it's American. And Charles de Gaulle, if you wanted to go there, you just press that one and then OK. Of course, I'm going to Echo Golf November X-Ray, and I'm going to go to runway 0 just for a change. Just go to 27. So it's the opposite end from where we were 2 seconds ago. Press OK, and it should load us up. Every airport has a 4-digit code that you can find out from the map function, which tells you all the information you need on the runway lengths and elevation and so forth. So that's us lined up and ready to go. Next check is fuel and payload to make sure that you're not overweight. So to do this, it's aircraft fuel and payload. See, there's a warning sign up, the plane's overweight, because I've put it overweight just to show you how to change it. So basically, go into payload. Made that a very fat pilot, so put that back to 170, and I'm going to make the crew down to 510. OK. You see the flag's gone away. The plane's flying almost at full weight. So the next tip is to reduce the fuel in the tanks to about 30%. And the reason for this is, one, shorter takeoff run. Secondly, you will shorter landing runs, so you can land on shorter runways. And the third one is that you can land quite a little bit slower, maybe down from 140 knots, from 145 maybe to 140 knots. And the plane manoeuvres better as well if it's got less fuel in it. So the fuel's gone down. So that's check number 2 is the fuel. Next check is to scroll through the tower to spot plane, and it's just to check that the air brakes are off. Air brakes are backslash bottom right. So that's the air brakes on. Just put the pause off. That's the air brakes on, and that's the air brakes off. So you want the air brakes off, or the plane won't fly. Next check 5 is when you're on spot, rudder. Check the rudder works and the tail. So just spin, check the tail goes up and down, this just checks that the joystick's connected basically. I'm going to scroll back now into the cockpit, and the next check is flap fly. 1 degree of flaps just makes the plane fly that wee bit quicker. Check, just make sure both engines are working. There's a problem with E, and if you press E you put one engine off and then you try and fly and it goes all to one side. So just move the plane forward slightly on the engines using my joystick. You'll see that the arrows, the midway painted bits, right in the middle of the cockpit, so you're right in the middle of the runway. So basically when you take off you're going to use the rudder to keep the plane right in the middle. 7's just make sure the throttles and the auto throttle and the autopilot are off. Normally you'd put them on shortly after takeoff, but as I'm going to just be taking off manually, I'm going to keep them off. I'm going to cover those in a later film anyway. The autopilot's going to be next. So that's me ready to go. I'm just going to talk through quickly what I'm going to look for in the takeoff, and then do a takeoff. Airspeed, it's climbed to about 80 knots, and then I'll push the nose down slightly just to ensure that the nose doesn't lift too early. When the plane starts to fly, the VSI starts to show a positive rate. I'll lift the plane up, gear up, flaps up, and fly out, hopefully at about 1,500 feet a minute. And that's about it really. So I've done all my checks, flaps are up, I've got a bit of fuel on board. So I'm just going to open the throttles up now and use the rudder just to keep the plane in the middle of the runway. If it starts to veer from side to side, I'm just watching my speed now, it's starting to build up, and I'm running along the runway now. You get this thing that thinks you're short of fuel. Right, I'm up to about 80 knots now, so I'm just putting the nose down. I'm just slightly right in the rudder because I'm going off the runway a little bit. Okay, I'm up to about 130 knots, so pull back slightly and then just leave it for a second and then pull back again. Stops you hopefully dragging the tail. Throttle down a little bit or you're going to go too fast. Gear up, flaps up, and that's a takeoff. I'm just going to pause it now and do a quick replay so you see what it looks like from the ground. And I think that's us finished. Okay, so it's options, instant replay. Okay, and we're back on the ground again. I'm just going to scroll with S through to the tower view, and you put it in a little bit, and you should see the plane start to roll in a second as I open the throttles. A good takeoff is the wheel's in the middle, it's running right down the centre line, which is good, so you're not. I was kind of lost the plot a little bit as I went down the runway a bit, and it started to veer slightly to the right. But if you can just maybe see on the rudder, I just corrected it and then put the nose up. It didn't scrape the bottom of the plane, which is good. Up, gear up, flaps up, and that's just runway heading, and that's just like a normal takeoff. In the next video I hope to cover the autopilot, so sorry it's so rushed to get it all in 10 minutes, but if you thought found this one useful, please try and see if you can see my next one, which is the autopilot. Thank you for watching.